The first thing you need to understand is your financial position, right? You got to know where you stand as far as how much money you're bringing in on a net basis. That's after taxes and any deductions you may have on your payroll. And you need to look at how much money is going out, which is going to be your expenses on a monthly basis, right? That's the key to understanding the entire picture for buying a property, because if you don't know how much money you could realistically spend on a property, you can get yourself in trouble and lose your VA home loan benefits if you go into foreclosure. Neither that we want to happen. So again, it's just the tools that you need to have in place, right? Now, there's a lot of software companies out there that offer apps that you can basically link all your accounts to that you have, like credit cards, bank statements, and it will help you through that journey, right? But it's automated, and I'm more of a fan of using an Excel sheet. Yes, it is a painful process, but it also allows you to manually see how you're spending money, how much is the interest rates on the credit card. So then you can come up with a financial plan if you have over leveraged debt to be able to fix that and actually put yourself in a good position. Now, why is it important to save money to purchase a home? The VA loan has a lot of benefits with it, right? And we've talked about it in a lot of our videos, right? There's no money down. If you don't have a VA loan, there's technically no limit. So you want to buy a $4 million place, you can do that, but you have to be financially ready to be able to do something like that. It offers no private mortgage insurance, but there's still going to be costs associated with purchasing a property, right? The main one is going to be closing costs, right? You still have to pay to buy a property. Some states, the fees vary across all the states, right? On average, it's about 3% if you work with a lender, with a regular lender. If you work with a military-friendly lender, they're going to be about 6% in fees, because if you use kind of like the big banks that always market to the veteran community, they charge the highest amount of fees. And you can see that on the VA's website on who actually originates the most mortgages, and those are the culprits that are making the most off of veterans, which is ironic in itself. Also, if you want to put a down payment on the property, we've seen a lot of people use their VA loan and put a down payment 5, 10, 15, 20%. If you have the VA fund, if you have the VA disability of 10% or more, you don't pay the VA funding fee. So that gets waived. But when you don't have disability or you're on active duty, then you do pay a funding fee. Now that ranges based on if you're buying it or using it for the first time, subsequent use, meaning it more than once, and if you have a down payment. And sometimes people want to do a down payment because it lowers their monthly payments. But again, that's kind of up for discussion, because sometimes putting $20,000 down is barely going to make a dent in the mortgage. You put $100,000 down, okay, that's going to change the payment about $700 or so a month. But for some people, do I trade in $100,000 or do I for $700 a month, or do I write off the interest, wait for rates to drop, and do a refinance, right? Those are all things you need to consider when buying a home, owning a home, which reminds me, there's maintenance, right? And there's different type of maintenance on a property. There's going to be annual maintenance and there's going to be monthly maintenance. And I'm going to lump some things together in maintenance with that as well. I'm going to explain it. So you have your annual maintenance, right? So let's say you have a HVAC system, you have your water system. You have to get all that stuff maintained on an annual basis, right? So it might be $2,000 a year that you have to spend every year just making sure, bringing somebody in, clean the water, maintain it, do whatever, unless you can do it yourself, which is great. I think you also have monthly costs associated as well, like paying for heating, air conditioning, any type of utility. So I count that as part of a maintenance, because you have to have that on in a property in order to actually maintain it from basically like spoiling, right? You don't want the wood to rot in the property, drywall to mold to be created. So all those things are going to be factored in, right? And every property in every area is going to have a different cost associated with it. The nice thing about some of the utility costs is you can ask the sellers when you're purchasing a property is, how much do you guys pay for X utility or whatever it is that you guys have questions on? You can just go ahead and ask them to do that. Now, the thing for having effective saving strategies for yourself again, it's going to be budgeting is going to be the number one thing because it's going to let you be able to see the entire financial picture, right? That's what we do from like a lending side. When I talk with somebody, I look at the full picture. We determine what all the rates are on the liabilities that they have, and we come up with a plan on how to pay that down. Another thing that you want to think about with that is reducing your expenses, right? You don't need to, I mean, whatever it is that you eat, if you eat out, it's a crazy expensive. That's why I personally don't really eat out that much, maybe once a week on a Friday night. That's our date night. Then we're going to go out and grab something, right? But it's not going to be $200 a person, right? It's just going to be something very reasonable. So budgeting for food is really important, and any type of spending that you do to be able to curb that so you can save more money. Another strategy you can use is to split your paycheck out. And let's say use 10% of it and put it in a savings account. Your employer should allow you to do that. So then you can basically automatically put that money aside. Another nice thing that you can do is to have a 401k contribution. Sometimes employers are going to match that 401k contribution, which is going to be great because now you're accelerating your savings. And so if you can't, and that money is before taxes. So it's basically, let's say you get paid $3,000 for a pay period, and you put $500 in your 401k. Now you're getting taxed on $3,500, which is nice. You're paying less taxes and you're saving. So it's kind of a double whammy. And if you're still on active duty, contributing to your TSP account, even if you have guaranteed retirement, is going to help you significantly down the road. Now, I want to talk about fear mongering in the internet around housing, the economy, that everything's going to fall apart. And we hear this all the time. So I really, when the other year when people were like, oh, the market's going to crash, interest rates by being high, real estate's going to fall drastically, 30, 40%. And none of that happened, right? And there's a reason for that, right? Back in 2008, 2009, the market crashed because of made up loans, right? They called loans called ninja loans, no income, no assets. So you just had your name, pool of credit. Yeah, you didn't even have to show assets. You could buy a property. Like that's how easy it was. That's why that market crashed. Today, we have a robust economy where people have good jobs. They are saving, right? They have stability and they're purchasing properties. And that's why we see foreclosures at an all-time low still to this day. And even if there is foreclosures, guess what? They go at market price or above. I mean, that's really kind of I'll put an asterisk behind that. It really depends on where you are in the country, but we're not seeing double-digit declines anywhere. In 2008, 2009, after that, the markets really took a big dive. But we just don't really see that happening anymore. Back then, too, is properties were cheap. It was cheaper to buy a home than rent a property. Right now, it's really not the case, right? It's a lot more expensive to purchase than rent. But again, people are still purchasing properties that are out there. And housing really creates stability. I know that if you're on active duty, it's kind of tough because you're moving every 3 years, but it's also a great way to use your VA loan as an investment vehicle. There's plenty of loan products out there. You don't always have to use a VA home loan, and set yourself up for success. And that's what we want to be able to provide. And we have other videos that you can check out on the YouTube channel that go over how to do that, right? But that stability piece is key. It grounds you to the community. For a lot of people that have kids, being able to go to the same school for that whole period of time, I think is pretty great. So I hope you guys learned some stuff. Please hit the like and subscribe button, share our information with the veteran community, and we'll catch you guys soon.